So now that we have it drawn out, now we're going to play with adding shading and color. If you have access to colored pencils, crayons, markers, feel free. But if you don't, and you're just going to shade with pencil, that is fine and good. That's what I'm going to show you, is pretty much like the bare bones. If you have nothing else other than paper, a pencil, and a ruler, and an eraser, that's what we're going to use. So that's going to be my next step, is shading this in. To shade this in, I'm still going to pretend that my light source is back there. So the fronts of my letters may be darker, or, hello kitty, or they might be a different color if you're doing, let's say, colored pencil. I know my shadows are going to be the darkest because, just like my hand on the paper, the shadows that cast off my fingers, those are pretty dark. If something's floating, it doesn't touch. If it's floating, I should say, it doesn't connect. If it's touching, the shadow connects right to the very end of my finger, or if there's a kitty sniffing the camera. So here's what I'm going to do to start. I might even play with a pattern, so get creative with this. And I just want you to, watch, follow along, however you want to do it, but I'm just going to play and I'm just going to see what happens. Here we go. Okay, taking a little break here for a minute, so you can kind of see I shaded things in. I might go back and I might tweak it. There might be some parts that are a little bit light, like here, looks a little light to me, because I want to show that there are spaces and that there's depth in between the letters and throughout all the way to the back of each individual letter. So it's kind of like back in 7th grade when you guys put buildings next to each other, there was lots of shadows cast by each building. Well, now, instead of buildings, they're letters, and we upped the ante by adding the drop shadow that we have down here. So talking about the shadow, I am going to fill this in, but I'm going to be fading it. So unlike the sunlight that I have coming into my studio right now, where my hand is casting a shadow and it's pretty much a pretty crisp outline of my fingers on my paper, I feel like I want to fade this one. So usually for a shadow, it'll start off darker, and then it'll just gradually get lighter and lighter until it disappears. So more like a shadow that you might see on a cloudy day versus a bright sunny day like we have right now. So that's what I'm going to do. And just a little trick for you guys, when I start shading in like this, if you can see, I was doing marks that look like this. That's called cross hatching. If you have marks that's just like this, that's called hatching. Down here, when I'm starting to do the shadow, instead of doing hatching and cross-hatching marks, I'm actually starting to do little ovals. So if I had to pick each one of those apart, this is kind of what it looks like in slow-mo, and really, really far apart. And then I go back over, and I'm just going to keep adding and adding. And I might do some hatching or cross-hatching over top, but that's going to eliminate any streaks that I might get, or like let's say when you were younger and you were coloring, you would color, but then all of a sudden you'd get a weird line where all your marks meet up like right in here, and you could draw like a mountain range here. This layering avoids that little mountain range line. So that's what I'm going to do. have it, guys. That's how it would look when it's all finished. So that's what I'm asking of you to do. That's what you'll take photos of and email me whenever you're done. But that's how you would do a word to 2-point perspective showing thickness of letters, so blocks, even if they're curvy, and then a fading shadow in the opposite direction of the thickness of your word. So hope this makes sense. Again, contact me if you have any questions, but that's what I would like you to give a shot. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.